Celebrating 35 years of creativity and collaboration, the Vail Dance Festival returns July 28th through August 7th with 12 thrilling performances and numerous special events, including live podcast recordings of conversations on dance, all across the beautiful Vail Valley. Don't miss the legendary Martha Graham Dance Company, LA Dance Project, Music from the Soul, Ballet X, Dance Aspen, and an all-star cast of festival artists from New York City Ballet, American Ballet Theater, the Royal Danish Ballet, Boston Ballet, and many more. Tickets for our live podcast recordings are now available at vaildance.org/conversations-on-dance or click the link in the show notes. Tickets for festival performances are also available now at vaildance.org. See you this summer. I'm Rebecca King Ferraro.
And I'm Michael Sean Breeden, and you're listening to Conversations on Dance.
This week on Conversations on Dance, we are joined by Philip Duclos, corps de ballet member with the Royal Danish Ballet. We talk with Philip about his training at the School of American Ballet and his first year in a company. He gives us a preview of what he will be dancing this year at the Vail Dance Festival and tells us how he first came to be invited to the festival in 2021 while he was still a student at SAB.
Philip, we are so happy to finally be able to sit down and chat with you. We've been watching you at Vail for a few years now, and I had the pleasure of working with you this past year at the Royal Danish Ballet. But as we do with any first-time guest, we like to go back to the beginning. So just tell us a little bit about how you first sort of fell in love with dance.
Yeah, so my mom had danced a little bit through college, nothing serious. So my mom danced a little bit through college, and she had put me, when I was 3 or 4, put me into everything, sports, and nothing really stuck. And she decided to put me into ballet. I think she got that idea because I had gone to see, she had taken me to ABT with my family to see Bayadere, and my entire family had fallen asleep besides me at like 3 years old. And I just loved it.
Wow.
And I think that's when she got the idea to just put me into classes. And I started at this little studio in a synagogue on the Upper West Side in New York. And the first couple of classes, I refused to dance, but then I would get home and then I would do the whole class myself. And, over time, I gained confidence and I would dance. And then I think when I was 6 years old, I auditioned for SAB. And then I started when I was 7.
Wow.
And I was there for 12 years. And now I'm at the Royal Danish Ballet. Just finished my first season.
That's awesome.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of an unusual story. Not a lot of kids really do, from beginning to end at SAB. So what was that like being, not a lot of kids even stay in one place anywhere, right? I mean, it's unusual to have like a single institution shape your dancing. So what was your experience like at SAB from 6 or 7 years old?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. I mean, it also changed. The whole institution went through a major change when I was there, and I experienced all of that. But I think, as a kid, I loved it. I loved performing with City Ballet. It was my favorite part about it, and it I think that's what instilled in myself that I love to perform and I love to dance. And I think that my dream for a long time was to get into New York City Ballet. And that's what I thought my path was going to be up until my last year at the school. But, Ballet World took me other places and I ended up in Denmark, and it couldn't have been a better thing for me because I couldn't be more happy. But overall, my experience at SAB was, it shaped me into the dancer I am today. But it was long. I'm not going to lie. 12 years is a long time to be in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And it can kind of get you in a one-way mindset about where you want to dance professionally. But I don't know. I think it all ended up turning out the way it should have.
Right. I mean, I felt the same way. I was only at SAB for 3 years, and I certainly was very single-minded. But then, of course, like looking back, I was just saying this yesterday. I mean, I'm right now, I'm working with Ballet Collective, and it's all New York City Ballet dancers. And I'm the only person in the whole room that didn't dance for New York City Ballet. And it's kind of strange sometimes. But then, you realize later on, like, well, all these opportunities that I am getting. I mean, Philip, in your first year, Justin picked you, lucky for me, because I got to work with you, but Justin picked you to learn the central male soloist of ballet, which maybe, if you were at New York City Ballet, that might not have happened. So already things are really clearly falling into place for you. But I want to go back a little bit. Let's talk about some of the ballets you got to dance when you were a kid at SAB. What were some of the things that you got to perform with New York City Ballet?
Yes, I did pretty much everything that a kid could do there. But I did Nutcracker for 5 or 6 years. I was in the party scene. I was Fritz, the brother. I was the prince for 2 years. And then I was under the bed a couple years later for another
Bad
2
boy.
years after that.
Wow.
Let's see.
Is it always an SAB student that does Bed Boy at City Ballet?
I think so.
Historically, it has been.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I think like at Miami City Ballet, sometimes like soloists be down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is a lot of responsibility, that part.
I know. I always thought it was funny that they just have a kid do it.
Yeah. Was that, not to detour us, but was that panicky? I feel like it's hard. You can't see anything under there, right?
No, yeah, it was so stressful. And I kept it. I was like, no, I'm not going to tell anyone in Copenhagen because God forbid they want me to do it. I was just like, I don't want.
They're like, get back under that bed.
Yeah. No, but it was, I think, the most stressful thing I've done on that stage. Just like really nerve wracking, and anyone will tell you. But yeah, and let's see. I did Swan Lake. I was a villager, then I was a jester. I did that 2 times. I did La Sylphide when they started opening it, which is funny because now I'm doing it in Denmark this year.
Right.
I did Firebird. I did Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah. How do you think that those performing experiences, like obviously that feeds you, makes you want to stay on your path to becoming a professional, but do you think is that, or were those early experiences something that stay with you and like help you to feel comfortable on stage now as an adult?
Yeah, I don't think I think back to those experiences much now, but I think like looking back, it definitely gave me the confidence that I have now. And just that stage experience is like so important as a kid, I think, because you have to get used to being on stage. And even though I wasn't dancing much, I mean in Nutcracker, like I was doing a lot, and it like definitely I think is a lot for a kid to handle, but I didn't think of it that way then, and it just yeah,
so normal.
I think and it was really it I think the performing experience was super, super helpful.
It's so funny because like this is an experience that you probably didn't have, but like for us, I think, Michael, I don't want to speak for you, but just having kind of like a small school experience of performing was kind of what I went into my career feeling more comfortable with, like where it's just kind of like this student showcase more kind of feel. No, I don't want to say recitally, but you know what I mean. And then when you get to a professional company, it's like, oh, this is real. And it feels a little scary because it's just so professional. And so I have to think that then when you get to the Royal Danish Ballet, you're like, feels already very normal for me. And I feel this is like an organic experience for me. So I don't have to think about that. I can just like focus on dancing. Like I'm already so comfortable in this environment.
Oh yeah. And especially, those performances as a kid definitely helped me, but doing Vail the past 2 years, and especially Vail, I think, because that was my first like real high stakes performance, I think, like with professional dancers. It was the real deal. So I think that was especially important to like giving me the confidence that I have now, because of course I get anxious before a performance. I think any dancer does, but I think without those experiences, I would be in a very different place. But I'm so grateful to have, been pushed back then. So now I feel so much more comfortable.
Let's talk about Vail. Yeah.
That's really getting thrown in the deep end.
Totally.
It's, being in a professional company and, doing whatever court of ballet is one thing, but at Vail, it's not really an ensemble. It's a collection of incredible artists who are all doing various featured work, and you had to become a piece of that puzzle at a very young age. But let's hear, I guess, about how that opportunity even first came about.
Yeah. So my mom is actually a veterinarian and had run into Heather Watts and Damien Wetzel in the animal hospital. And this was right at the beginning of COVID. And they had offered my mom, they said like, because my mom had told them I was a dancer, and they offered to give me a class on Zoom during COVID, and started with one class, and we really connected, and they started giving me multiple classes a week for all through COVID. I would take, it would mostly be Tyler Peck, myself, and then Savannah, Heather Watts' niece, who's in Ballet X, and then sometimes Roman Mejia. It would be us doing class on Zoom, and that's kind of what I did to remain in shape during COVID. And I mean, Heather and Damien are amazing coaches. And then the first summer that Vail was back, after the pandemic, they invited me to come. I think it was a pretty small group of people at that time, just because they were trying to keep it pretty safe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they invited me to come to Vail, and I think I had met Heather and Damien for the first time in person, like a couple weeks before I went to Vail, because I'd never even seen them in person. They'd only seen me online. And then I went to,
oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah. And then I went to Vail that first summer, and they were so instrumental in like, especially my last year at the school, and like helping me with companies, and like getting the confidence to audition and put myself out there. They were so, amazing. Like I really accredit so much of what I've accomplished to them, because I don't know, I would not be where I am without them. And then I went back last year again to Vail, and now I'm going back again this year. I actually just had rehearsal yesterday for it, so Yay. I'm super excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about them coaching you, Heather and Damien, because I do think that there can be a thought from the audience that like, oh, Damien and Heather put together programming, they bring together the dancers, and then they're like, that's their job. That's all they do. And it's so much more than that, right? They are so hands-on. They are always in that theater. Like if you ever pop down to the amphitheater, they are there. They are on stage. They are coaching. And so much is happening in Vail, lots of creation, but there's still so much coaching happening. So I wonder if you could tell us that first year, and maybe last year too, but just like some of the things that they worked with you on one-on-one, and that coaching experience that continued, not just the performing experience.
Yeah. So the main thing I did in Vail my first year was one of the patadas from Who Cares with India Bradley. Mm-hmm. And at that time, she's, been in the court of ballet, and I'm not even a graduating student at SAB. So mm-hmm. it was, a lot to take on. But I had never really had an experience like that, like doing as I said, that was my first like real performing professional experience. And I think I wasn't so comfortable at first, like dancing with someone and really expressing myself and finding that deep connection. But Heather and Damien, they pulled that out of me, like for sure. They they were so instrumental in just like building myself into a performer and not just a technician, a ballet technician, because I think I was so focused at that time. I still am, but I'm so focused on technique and I was still in the school at that time, so it's easy.
Student. Yeah,
it's easy to get in that mindset. But they pulled that performance quality out of me, and like they I think were one of the main people who made me into a performer, and they're still doing that now. But it's been so helpful going, as my first year at the Royal Danish Ballet, being able to express myself like that. Like they really I can't express enough like how they brought that out of me and like gave me the confidence that I needed.
I think even just like it makes you can just also see what they were doing, like by pairing it with India. Like India is just such a personality, and I think it would be impossible to not have to give something back to her. And so I love that, they're Heather and Damien, everything is thought through, it's not just arbitrary, like, okay, we're just going to do a grab bag of ballets and then we'll like, the casting is whatever. It's all very deliberate, which is one of the things that I love about them. Let's talk a little bit. You mentioned already you had rehearsal yesterday. What are you dancing this year at the festival?
Yes. So this year I'm dancing La Ventana Pas de Trois. It's a Born in Vail.
I love
Pas de Trois, which I'm super excited about.
Great.
I'm dancing it with Olivia Bell from City Ballet, and then Mayfield Myers. She's at Philadelphia Ballet. We went to SAB together for a little bit. They're both incredible dancers. It's Mayfield's first year at the festival, so I'm super excited.
I've heard very good things about Mayfield. We remember Olivia from the festival last year.
Yeah.
Your bestie, Shelby Mann, was telling me that Mayfield is very talented. So we're looking forward to seeing her dancing.
She is. I mean, you just have to wait and see. She's really incredible. But yeah, so I'm doing that, which is super nice. I love Bournonville. Even before I got into the company, I loved Bournonville. So I'm super excited about that. I'm doing a new Kyle Abraham piece.
So cool. We love Kyle.
And then I'm doing another new ballet with KJ from New York City Ballet, and then another dancer named Spencer. I think he's the scholar in residence this year. So that's going to be a ballet, the three of us. And then,
what style is that going to be in? Is it going to be ballet or?
I don't know. I haven't had rehearsal yet, so we'll see. Right. Yeah, we'll see. But things always get added once we get there, so I'm sure there will be more. But at the moment, just those three things. Which is a lot, but yeah.
So you haven't started rehearsals for any of the new pieces yet?
No, not yet. I've just done La Ventana.
That'll be probably just like in Vail, right? I mean, it's amazing to see how fast these new works come together when everyone is there. It really, so much work is put in and they happen so fast, and you guys have to think so fast and on your feet. And it's just like really, again, it's maybe something the audience doesn't quite realize because it all looks so polished and completed and when it's there, but it just is such a quick experience. What is that like for you, like compared to your everyday company life?
I'm going to say that it's actually not that different because in Copenhagen, we put things together super quickly. I mean, it depends on the ballet, but if it's a ballet that the company has performed before and is kind of in the regular repertoire and then that most dancers know, it's put together super quickly. Like Nutcracker for us is put together in like 4 days, even for the people who have never learned it before, like new dancers.
Right.
And I don't know. I think that experience at Vail also prepared me well because you got to know what you're doing at all times. And especially this year, in the company, my experiences have been kind of crazy, being thrown into different parts mid-performance.
Yeah, you were thrown in when I was there. I remember. I think I saw
Yeah,
the show Blixen, right? You got it was like an intermission, like
yeah.
you're
I
on
had it was a
moment.
spot that I had never done before. I mean, I was only an understudy, and I had my rehearsal during intermission, and then I went on. But that was the first of many many times this year that's happened. Um, that's also partly my own fault because I would volunteer to do it because any extra dancing that I can do, I will take advantage of.
That is,
Yeah.
as Michael and I will talk about all the time, that is the smartest thing you can do as a dancer. It makes you incredibly valuable that you can just pop in and solve any problem, because those are moments for the artistic staff that's like panic. And if they have someone they can count on, very valuable.
Yes, yes. And it's also, I mean, it's exciting to do a new spot. And, if you're not on that night and you get put on, it's exciting. I love it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and ballet, like you guys, I think Blixen was a pretty long run, why not mix it up, do something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and yeah, the same thing happened, I think, with Gregory Dean. He's a principal in the company, and he's choreographed a bunch of ballets, but he choreographed Blixen, and then he choreographed a new full-length ballet this year, Gotta Dance. And in his two ballets, for some reason, that's like been the time that I've been thrown in the most, just because they're usually long runs and a lot of dancers and, hard rep. So it's like, it's going to happen that people are going to get injured, and
they need you.
So yeah, I was there, and, I don't know. I mean, it was great. I mean, great for me. I don't hope that anyone gets injured, but it's been great opportunities for myself. So.
Sure.
We had, there was I feel like I've already mentioned this moment on the podcast. Like, I don't know what episode that would have been, but a different episode. But it was, to me, like a very moving rehearsal. Like, just one of those rehearsals where you're just like, I love ballet and I love being a part of this community. But we were rehearsing the Anthony Huxley role in Ballet. It was like the end of the day, and we had just you and the other men. So it was Bazzi, who is the first cast, who's a principal, and Toby, also like a very esteemed soloist for the company, wonderful dancer, and Sam was the third cast. And you learned the ballet, but you hadn't really gotten a chance to do it. And then we had that time. That's always my rule. We never go home early if there's someone in the room who hasn't rehearsed.
Yeah.
And we just had Philip do the whole ballet. But it was just so wonderful, because it was like Philip obviously knew it, had worked on it in the back so much, and was beautiful in it. But then also like this moment where you could just like feel like his new peers who barely knew Philip, you'd only been there for a couple months, like beaming with like pride and respect and like love for their new family member. It was like you just went home feeling so happy. I hope you felt as happy as I did with that rehearsal.
Oh yeah. No, that was that year, that was my first, like, I will always remember it. It's my first like major role that I got to learn in the company. And it was, overwhelming, but such an amazing experience. And I'm so grateful for it. And that was any time that I'm able to, even if I'm an understudy, get to rehearse the role, like I will grab that opportunity. So I was so grateful. And it was such a beautiful ballet and such a nice role that I got to learn. So yeah.
Did you get to perform that part at all? Or just
no.
But see, the rehearsals, sometimes those rehearsals feel like a performance, right? When you get to do it, like you still got to do it in space, and it felt good and it fed your soul. And like you said, you'll remember it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that was like an opening to more opportunities that I got during the year. And I think just being able to go full out in the back as much as you can and just know your choreography, whether you're going to perform it or not, is super important.
Right. I remember you also, like, you weren't able to come to all the rehearsals. Like, it was, you were very everyone was very overbooked. But it was like I remember Philip being like, "Okay, I think I can like leave this rehearsal for Midsummer at this time, and I could come to like the last 10 minutes of your rehearsal." And I was like, "You do whatever." But you made it a point to just be as present and just to know the role as well as you could in spite of that being that divided.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Midsummer was also a crazy experience because I was doing a role, and then 2 days before the premiere, I got thrown into this. I don't know if I'd call it a soloist role, but this featured role. It's like a principal, and then there's two guys in the back doing some kind of insanely difficult choreography, and I got thrown into that, which I wasn't expecting to do. But that's kind of the life it is, how it's like there. You never know what you're going to do, really.
I mean, so often we talk with dancers who've had, long careers, and a lot of times they bring up, something happened. And again, it's like no one wants anybody to get injured, but there was an injury that happened. They got this opportunity, and then they took it. Like you're saying, you knew it, you're ready to go. And then that kind of helped build their career up. So it's just having that work ethic first thing in the company is just so important. It sounds like you're on a great path for sure.
I think, I hope so. Yeah, I've enjoyed it so much this year. Yeah, it's been great.
You have your whole career ahead of you.
It's such an exciting. I can just feel Rebecca and me like vampiring your young energy. We're just like, it is, but it is such a special feeling at the beginning of your career when you have so much to look forward to. It's just that's the best feeling. What are you looking forward to this coming season?
Yes, so this season, first ballet we're performing, we were supposed to do Bayadere, and I was super excited because I was learning the Golden Idol. But due to scheduling issues and just like a ton of performances, we had to cancel the production.
It'll come back.
But it's going to come back in the next couple of seasons. But so the first program we're doing this year is Sylphide and then Scotch Symphony.
I love Scotch. Scotch is the best ballet.
Have you done that before? I feel like that's an SAB. That's in SAB's repertoire.
No, I was there
a little
when they
too
did
young.
it.
Right?
I was there when they did it for workshop. I had seen it the last time they had done it. But no, I've never done it. And so I'm learning one of the two soloist guys.
I did that. It's the most fun ever.
Yeah. I mean, there's only one cast right now, so I'm not sure if I'm going to get to do it or not. I hope I do. And then I'm learning the reel in Sylphide, which I've done as a child. So I'm doing that, or I'm learning that for the first program. And then we're doing Swan Lake again, which I did this year. So I'm doing same roles I did, which is like I'm doing the waltz, I'm doing Russian, and then another like mazurka in the third act, which is what I all did this past year.
It's so great. Like your second year, like the first time a ballet comes back for you, you kind of feel like you're in your stride. You're like, okay, I've done this before. It's really, I remember that feeling like a nice experience. Like you feel a little bit like seasoned,
Yeah. I'm excited. It's going to be nice. And then what I'm super excited about is we're doing the Dante Project by Wayne McGregor.
You're going to get to work with Anton. Antoine.
So
I'm forgetting his name. I love him so much. It's just such a wonderful stager, and I'm presuming Wayne is going to come as well.
Yeah. So this ballet Paris Opera just did it. I mean, it was choreographed on the Royal Ballet recently. And I'm doing, there's the main Dante role, which is the main principal male role. And then I'm doing the young version of Dante. So, it's like a featured role, and I'm first cast. So I'm super excited. That's what I'm mostly excited about this year. And then for the rest of the season, I'm going to be in Toby's new ballet. Toby Pretorius. He's choreographing his first ballet for the company. I'm going to be doing that.
Great.
And then let's see. I think the rest of the casting for the year hasn't come out yet. Right. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But So
what a great
far,
season. So many
yeah.
different things.
Yeah, we have, and there's like, we're doing Cinderella, Raymonda,
Oh my gosh.
Nutcracker, of course, just a ton of, we're doing etudes, serenade.
Etudes, you're going to be, working hard there. I'm sure that
Yeah.
I don't, the structure of the ballet is like, it's just pure virtuosity, but like you can do many, like, I don't think that it's like a strict, this part does this. It's like you could do multiple sections. It's like, I guess like kind of like a serenade situation where you could just, like remember when you did, Rebecca, you had the moment that does the girl that does the Russian girl duet thing, and then you also did Russian girls, which is unusual but not impossible. I think etudes. I feel like Philip is just going to be in every section dying.
Yeah,
I hope so. I would. Yeah, I'm excited for it. It seems like a good ballet to do. Challenging, but good. Yeah.
Well, we look so forward to seeing you in Vail. We hope that all of our listeners will join us and come see you dance. And we're looking forward to it, as we know you are too. So thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Conversations on Dance is part of the ACAST Creator Network. For more information, visit conversationsondancepod.com.